359 is sponsored by USB Technology. The USB Implementers Forum reminds consumers that USB IF logos are displayed on certified USB products. So the next time you're shopping for a reliable USB charger, cable, or device, look for the logos. Get the whole story at enablingus.org. Holy crap, it's been a long day. Welcome to the 359, episode 440. I'm BVG, and we got Roger, Shara, and Jess here to answer all of your questions about this damn phone.
Damn phone. This wonderful phone.
You mean this phone?
That
right here?
phone.
You mean this phone?
So, yes, this podcast is a little bit different today. It's running a little bit late, obviously, but it's going to be dedicated to the Galaxy Note 9. I'll probably stay quiet for most of this thing and let the experts actually talk about it. But as usual, if you have any questions about this phone, anything Samsung related or mobile related, Jess and Shara know everything about phones, at least stuff that I don't know about. But if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Brian will pick out the best, and we'll get them in 3 minutes and 59 seconds.
We'll see about the best. Hang out, everybody. We'll see you back in the chat in 3 minutes and 59 seconds from 3, 2...
Welcome to the 359. I'm Roger Chang, and with me are special guests Shara Tibken and Jessica Dolcourt. They are here to talk about the Galaxy Note 9 and really all things Samsung, because it wasn't just about the Note 9 today, right?
Correct.
So, first of all, we should get to the phone. Let's break down the flagship product. This is the Note 9. What are some of the highlight features?
Okay, so I've got the Note 9 right here. The highlight in any Note is going to be the stylus. And what Samsung did, and this is really the standout feature of the phone, is not only can you write and draw like you normally could, but there is a Bluetooth antenna in here. So it is Bluetooth enabled, which means that if you like long press or short press on this button, depending on which app you're in, it will do something. So maybe launch the camera app, switch around the camera, take a picture. So this basically extends the functionality beyond what we normally see. Other than that, we see a lot more storage options and a much larger battery. But essentially, some features are the same as the Galaxy S9, including the camera setup.
Yeah, and well, I guess the other thing that stood out to me was the price, right?
Yeah.
$1,000.
Starting. And that's
12...
for the 128 gigabyte version. And
right.
There's a 512 gigabyte version that is $1,250.
And yeah, they both, like with a 512 SD card, you can get a whole terabyte of storage, but I mean, those are pretty big numbers, right?
Yeah, I mean, it really is, especially when you consider that flash storage is so cheap right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could buy micro SD cards. Like I was just looking, like a 64 gig one you can get for like $5 on Amazon. And you know, that's one of the nice things about Samsung phones is you can expand the memory, but you can do it really cheaply. So, you know, kind of the memory as the big selling point for why it's more expensive is a little shaky to me.
And I mean, look, the iPhone 10 is $1,000, but it was a big design change over the previous generation. This phone,
And
what do you think?
the iPhone 10 also includes cutting edge technology
Right.
with a 3D front facing camera. We don't see this in here. We have an iris scanner, and that's great, but that's been around in generations, and the phones just get more expensive. So I think what we're looking at is really a shift in what the appropriate price for a high-end device should be. And Samsung is trying to make a claim.
Yeah, well, that sucks for all of our wallets. So, but I mean, going through some of the other features, you talked about the battery, which was the other kind of big point they were focusing on. Is 21% bigger capacity.
Yeah, it's 4,000 milliampere hour.
There you go. And so, I mean, you think that's enough to get people to, like, is that a big enough feature that people will care about? I mean, people complain about that all the time, right?
I think that the major driving points for purchase, you've got the camera, definitely. You've got screen quality, but these days it's just don't be bad. Battery life is huge. So there are a lot of people, especially now that you can't remove batteries and swap them as you could, 10, 15 years ago. There really is a demand for phones with long-lasting batteries. Of course, there are a lot of things you can do. This phone has fast charging. It's got wireless charging. You can top up your phone every day. It'll go from 0 to completely full in probably around 2.5 hours. So there are ways to extend battery life, but I think people are just really worried about running out because the phone is such an important part of our daily lives. I mean, what would you do without your phone if it went dead, right?
I'd go back home, charge my phone.
The day is over.
And you could look at the train schedule.
Exactly.
Or like,
You're right.
Like
And actually, I wouldn't be able to make it home.
Yeah.
And
then,
I think a lot of people get very worried
yes,
about this.
absolutely. And the other big feature, the improvement to the camera, the intelligent camera, right?
Yeah. Okay. So it's pretty much the same camera setup. This
Right.
is a little bit of AI software. This is software that we've seen on other phones, including some high-end phones from Huawei. It's not new. This is something that a lot of phones are going to be picking up. Basically, it sees a cookie and identifies it as food and changes the settings. So this is potentially useful. I wouldn't say it's a make or break in any way, shape, or form.
I also thought when we were just playing with it, and I haven't used it since you have this, but when we were just playing with it earlier, it seemed that it was slow. Like it took a little, it was like you had to wait a beat before it figured out what it was instead of just being able to take the picture. I mean, and you'll find out more when you do it more, but.
Yeah, and you can't swipe it away like you can on Huawei phones. It's either on or it's off.
Okay. For all of our Samsung Galaxy Note 9 coverage, check us out at CNET. I'm Roger Chang.
I'm Shara Tibken.
And Jessica Dolcourt.
Thanks for listening.
How do we do with time?
We're
over.
like 20 seconds over. It's all good. That's pretty good. We were like a minute over with Scott.
Yeah.
But that's,
I mean, at least Scott wasn't on the show too. Then it'd be like 6 hours over.
I was gonna say that.
But anyways,
But we
thanks
love
everybody for joining us for the recording of the audio podcast. I'm jumping into the chat now like I always do. I'm pulling out your questions and comments to keep the conversation going. Needless to say, we have a lot to talk about the phone, but there's actually more than a few people in the chat who want to hear more about the watch. Care
Yeah,
to
we didn't have time to
change
get to the
gears here
watch.
for a second?
Yeah, there was a Galaxy home speaker and the Galaxy Watch.
The watch is tomorrow's episode.
There is no tomorrow episode. No. The show's not canceled. We're good. We're back on Monday.
Shara and I can take over.
Oh, there you go. I mean, as long as I don't have to do it.
No, we can't.
So the watch.
Yeah, let's talk about the watch.
I mean, the watch was a bit, it wasn't a huge surprise, but we didn't
Right.
also see like a ton of leaks coming ahead of time.
Well, we
Well,
did see
besides
the
they
one.
published-
They
didn't
did
they,
have,
like-
they leaked their own watch.
They did.
But
Scratch what I just said.
no, I mean, the thing that was intriguing to me was they were promising multiple days on a single charge with an LTE battery, or that part wasn't clear to me. But they said several days on a single charge, which I was like, that's impressive if they can pull that off, right? No.
I mean,
Yeah, but I mean, I guess if you're doing sleep tracking with it, but realistically, like you're probably going to be taking it off anyway.
you're
Right.
not using your
Yeah.
watch with the same, constant resource claiming as you would for a phone. You just don't hit a watch as hard.
Well, but the problem is like the watch is smaller, has a smaller
And the
battery,
battery
and
is
it's
smaller,
never
too.
really like this Apple Watch really can't last more than a day, maybe a day and a half.
Right,
Even if you're
also-
not doing things with it though.
there's an LTE connection.
Yeah.
So I am kind of curious if that claim would extend to using data
That's
Yeah.
what I'm curious
when you go
about.
on your run.
Because this thing, once you put LTE data only, it's it lasts like 90 minutes maybe, and
Wow.
so nonstop, of course.
Yeah,
like,
but still, it's like
So I have to wonder how or if they were able to kind of figure out balancing LTE usage and longevity on that.
Also, it'll be great to see the watch in person. I haven't seen it today. I came right back to the office, but it sounds at least like it's very similar to the Gear watches
Yeah.
before.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the rotating dial, and they made
Yeah.
a big deal about it being circular.
Yeah, it's interesting that I guess they basically have scrapped the Gear name. The Gear name is a failure now, and it's Galaxy Watch. They decided.
yeah, but so what's their home thing? Isn't it Galaxy Home?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe they're just trying to like
They're trying to unify everything
Unify.
under Galaxy.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess.
I don't know. It was kind of weird that like last year.
That's
I think
just their
they-
perfect marketing thing, right? It's a galaxy of devices, but why didn't
yeah.
they do that before?
the
Why don't we
beginning?
have like a Galaxy fridge or a Galaxy dishwasher?
There will be.
Shara,
They
found
do
out
have
that-
Galaxy suits.
I knew you were gonna say
Yeah.
that. I was setting you up, but you got there first.
Sorry.
Their suits are smart. They're not.
No,
smart.
they did make smart suits.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I stand
They had them
corrected.
at CES like last year or the year before.
Okay.
The like
I know when I was in Korea a few years ago and I saw the Galaxy suits, they were not smart.
well,
They
those
were
are
all
just
dumb.
more like Brooks Brothers suits.
Yeah, they were just-
they're just like nice,
They're like
kind of expensive
overpriced
suits.
suits.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, you have any questions?
Yeah, can I leave this seat? I've been here since 10 o'clock this morning.
No.
No.
We're almost done.
You're there forever.
We've got a couple of good comments. Our Wallop says the Galaxy Note looks so good it might rip me away from the Apple ecosystem.
Wow. That's strong.
I would say wait till next year.
Yeah.
Like I think the biggest Samsung changes we're gonna see are next year.
Yep.
You know, like
With the Galaxy
screen,
S10
Yeah,
is
with
what
the
you're
Galaxy
referring to.
S10. Yeah, with like the under screen fingerprint,
In-screen display,
in-screen, however you call it,
I don't
fingerprint
really know.
reader that
Yeah.
like works on the front. Yeah, like 5G. You know, this foldable phone. You know, even when we talked to a Samsung exec after the keynote, like that's what he was saying. You know, that they have tons and tons of innovation coming up.
Right.
So, you know, if you think the Note 9 is great, you might want to just, you know,
And Samsung and
give it a couple
Qualcomm
months.
are longtime partners.
Yep.
We've seen the Galaxy phones coming out first to market with Qualcomm's, next generations of processor. So it's very possible that Samsung will also nail an exclusive with the Galaxy S10, having, the first Qualcomm ultrasonic fingerprint reader in display.
Right.
That's something that I would kind of expect. I would be more surprised if that didn't happen.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up with the first 5G phone, frankly, a 5G mass market phone.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just going to be a race with that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. But given
it's like the timing, like the latest timing Qualcomm has given me for phones is like second quarter, which would fit, if like the S10's usually like March.
right, it usually launches towards the end of the right.
So that would be.
I would say, there might be like a one-off 5G specific phone that no one wants to buy,
Or like that Motorola thing with the
thing. Well, there's the
Motorola Z3 with a Moto mod that won't be available until sometime in 2019. And you
Right.
put this big honker on the back of a phone. It's just, that seemed like a play for Verizon to be able to claim that it was first to a 5G thing. But it is not a 5G enabled phone.
And keep in mind that those first 4G phones, I remember the very first one was the HTC Thunderbolt, and that was a terrible, terrible phone. It was like basically built to demonstrate the LTE connection, and other than that, it was a terrible phone. Brian, what do you got?
Moving on, Cody Williams wants to know, with that 4,000 milliamp hour battery, what is that? What's the benchmark? They tout the all-day battery, but what about for a heavy user? Where does that fall-off start to happen with usage?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and it's one that I can't wait to answer. CNET has a pretty rigorous battery test with video drain, and we'll kind of hit that thing 2 or 3 times until we get some pretty consistent answers. Basically, what we've seen for the Galaxy S9 Plus, which is sort of comparable, I guess the most comparable in terms of screen size and then the modern processor, the Snapdragon 845, is that you're still going to want to charge it for a charging cycle, overnight, but really it just needs 2 hours at some point during your day. So if I were to wake up at 6 in the morning and have a late night and stay out until 1 in the morning, I would not feel confident that my phone would last. You start seeing those double digits or those single digits on battery reserves, and you start getting very, very nervous. And let's face it, I'm not ever going to use like the power saving. Like I am the person who's turning off all the connections and dimming the screen. And okay, I can get home in 30 minutes. I'm not worried. I want to see if it's going to push it to that next level. But at some point within probably a 24 to 36 hour period, you're still going to want to recharge your phone.
APEC asks, is Android Wear getting a refresh or updates, or are the watches just going to fade away? I don't feel so good, Tony.
This was actually another Tizen watch.
Oh, good.
So
Point that out.
Yeah. So this is not actually Android Wear.
So Android Wear is getting rebranded. It's Wear OS, I believe. And we'll probably hear more about it at whenever Google holds an event. They usually hold one in the fall.
Probably October.
Right, probably October.
Yeah.
So we'll hear a little bit more about that then. But yeah, as you said, the Galaxy Watch is not Android Wear or Wear OS.
Yeah. Samsung does its own thing for its watches, fridges, that stuff.
Fridge OS.
Fridge OS, yeah.
Yep, still Tizen.
Is that pesky Bixby button still there?
Yes,
Ooh.
it is here on the side where it has been. And, I don't have a problem with the button being there. My problem is that it only works with Bixby. I think if it were to map to anything else of my choosing, then that would be great. We've seen convenience keys on other phones, and I think that they're really nice, except when you accidentally press it to launch the thing you don't really want to launch, and that's maybe how it's pesky. But otherwise, it's not the button's fault, right? It's the fact that Samsung is restricting the way that you use your phone.
I think it's interesting though. I mean, Bixby's something we didn't talk about, but that, they've made some changes to Bixby for the Note. And, one of the things I thought was interesting was that you'll be able to do things without having, like, something I've always thought that's kind of awkward about Apple. It's like, open this song in Spotify, open this, you have to be very explicit about, or like call an Uber, call a Lyft, you have to be very explicit about what service you want to actually do that task. And with Bixby now, you'll just be able to say, make a dinner reservation. And, I don't know actually if OpenTable is a partner, but, theoretically, OpenTable would just like find it and do it for you. And or like Ticketmaster, if you're like, oh, buy a ticket to this concert, you don't have to say using the Ticketmaster app.
Right.
Which is what it has been.
Yeah. And I mean, but that's kind of how it's been for everybody, I think, is just like, for these smart assistants to know what to do, you actually have to like tell them what to use.
Right.
And, Samsung's working with a bunch of partners on this, and they'll have an SDK so everybody can kind of tap into it. So it'll see if it gets too like overcrowded, where it's like, you want to buy a ticket to something and it's like StubHub opens. So does like, like who knows? But I think that's something that could be actually really handy and a little more natural way of interacting as opposed to play this song on Spotify.
Well, I'm curious about that. Did they explain how they would do it if you've got multiple apps that do different things? Like
they did not.
Theoretically, if you have Uber and Lyft and they are theoretically partners with Samsung, if you call for a cab or call for a car, like, does it know which one you prefer?
Right.
No, and I mean, that was exactly my point. Like, who knows?
But I wonder if you could set it the way that when you open something, you're asked, do you want Chrome to be default or the Samsung browser? Right. I would imagine it's something like that. Yeah. We've got it in beta on this review unit, so it's not rolled out yet. So that's something I'm definitely going to be looking at in the days to come.
Cool.
That's a powerhouse of a phone. I mean, it's a beast. I just wonder why they have to keep that Bixby, but it's the appendix of cell phone features, right? Like, once upon a time, it did something valuable, but nobody remembers what.
Well, it'd be great if it was just like new, actually. I mean, it'd be great if it was just like the camera, like.
Well, I mean, what would you map it to if you could remap it?
Right,
For me, I would remap it to play Hall & Oates on Spotify.
So you kind of have a convenience key through Android with the power button. So if you double tap the power button, it opens the camera. Yeah. So you kind of have that. So,
but can you remap that one, or is it just the camera?
The volume button. So by default, it's double click the volume button to open the camera, and that's Android wide, and it is really like the vision was to open the camera that way. But when you look back at some of the previous Samsung phones, like some of the active phones, not the S8 active, but before then, like S5 active, S6, right? Well, those all had a convenience key that would open like the S Health app by default, but you could still reprogram it to open something else. So Samsung knows how to do this, and it was in the exact same place.
I don't think anyone has an issue with the convenience key itself. I think people have an issue with the fact that it's just Bixby. Like you can't remap it.
But you can remap the pen. How can you remap the pen but not the phone?
Because I mean, they want you to use Bixby. Yeah. Like if they're like letting you avoid it, you're never going to use it. And I mean, frankly, like they want Bixby. Like AI is important. Everybody has to have something there, and for them, it's Bixby, and they are trying to make it better, and they want to make sure people are using it because they can't, it can't learn if it's not being used.
I mean, that's a good segue to the Galaxy Home, right? I mean, it's a Bixby powered speaker. They want to get in this. They want to get into homes. They want people to fall in love with Bixby like they have with Alexa.
I mean, well, they're already in homes is the thing.
But no one uses them, right?
No, but I mean. Yeah. Like they're like one of the biggest refrigerator makers. They're the number one TV maker.
They want the smart assistant.
I know.
Right?
Like they've kind of like they should have had this speaker before anyone else. Frankly, like they're so like dominant in just like our home. They are the world's biggest TV maker.
Right.
They're like very big in home appliances. Like we all, a ton of like iPhone owners, like Apple fanboys, have Samsung appliances or Samsung TVs because they're the best. Or among the best. I'll let Katzmeyer determine. It's not my forte. But it was kind of. It seems like they're just so late with this.
Yeah. And Samsung knows how to do audio.
Yeah.
So
and they just bought Harman.
Yeah.
Who's like really knows how to do audio.
And AKG. So there is. I wonder if it just took a while for everything to come together. I wonder if Samsung just thought, no, people will just talk to their TVs and talk to their fridges.
Yeah. I mean, like frankly, Bixby is still new. When it first came out, it was just an interface to tell your phone to like turn on a hotspot or like whatever. And it wasn't until I don't know. Several months later, a year later, I'm not even sure how long, almost a year later, I think, when we finally saw it move beyond just the phone. So, like, learning.
It's taken a while. I think that's why the speaker is so late, right? The assistant wasn't ready. It wasn't that the speaker, the
Samsung
hardware
has
was...
a need to build everything from the ground up.
Right.
That was kind of the highlight of the keynote for me was I wish I could have experienced it to really get a better judgment, but
The sound demo,
because
Yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
sound guy, so go figure.
It was. It was good, but also like Harman literally does concerts, so
Right,
I was like,
the
if
idea that they
anybody can
used
figure it, so their speaker is an AKG speaker, which is a Harman brand,
Right.
And
that they
AKG
just
is good
acquired.
quality stuff.
Yeah, it's good quality stuff. Like Samsung gives you the headphones that you get bundled with your phones are now AKG headphones. And they have a bundle with the Note. You're getting AKG headphones. So, but I mean, in setting up like a demo of something, like Harman like outfits concert halls
right?
and
If anyone
event
knows how
centers,
to,
and
like,
like if
tune
anybody
for a
knows,
big space like that,
yeah.
Totally. But we didn't get a lot of information on that. We're supposed to get more at the Samsung Developer Conference.
Yes, which is not a public event. I
Right.
mean, not that this was a public event, but I think it's in October. Do you remember? When the
September,
developer
October.
September, October. Yeah.
So we'll get a little bit more information. It's interesting how they rolled this out just like Apple rolled it out. Like they teased this.
Yeah.
Apple teased the HomePod. Now they tease the Galaxy
Yeah.
Home. It's coming later.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's funny. Like we went to try to see it, and we were late getting to the demo area, and they'd like removed all of them.
And we weren't even that late.
Yeah, I know we
were like
weren't.
15 minutes. Like we waited 15 minutes to do some other interviews. By the time we got to the demo area, they like removed them all.
Yeah.
So and they were non-functional.
What are they hiding?
They were non-functional.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like
Did they look like janky prototypes? You
We don't know.
You
Yeah,
didn't see 'em.
we have no
they looked
idea.
like, cauldrons.
On tripods.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a perfect kind of segue. I want to make sure that all of you were aware of what Jeff Bakalar did today.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah, just making sure that that's all in your eyes.
I can't get it out of my head actually.
Great movie.
I mean, if they were able, in fact, to amplify the entire Barclays Center with consumer-grade speakers, that would truly have been impressive.
Well, I mean, they did, but with like 160
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
But that could have been hokey or maybe kind of bogus. I don't know. Like that's a big amphitheater.
It is.
I don't want to
They
call it
actually
conspiracy, but
rebuilt Barclays around Bixby Home.
let's go ahead and take some more questions before we call it a day. Here's one from Life Improvements. I wonder if Bixby will ever be on the watch.
Oh.
Oh, that's a really good point, actually.
I would put money on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
That
I
seems
was-
like an
Especially if
obvious
it's
one.
ties in. I mean,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is why they need to have ties in.
Right.
Unless they put a skin, like a Samsung Experience skin, over Wear OS. But it doesn't
Right.
seem like they really want to move away from their own platform.
No.
Scott Myatt says built-in Dex has got me excited. Could be an unnoticed game changer. I'm with you on that one, sir. I lost the question I wanted to see. Djibouti Singh. Are they bringing all of the colors to the USA?
No. You get to have this one, which is ocean blue with the bright yellow S Pen, or you can have the lavender purple, which is also really pretty. And then globally, you get just a basic black version or a metallic copper.
I like the copper one actually. That
Yeah,
one
it's
was
got
pretty
like
nice.
a pinky
Yeah.
brown.
I
Yeah.
thought it was funny that they didn't really go with like a neutral color. Like
guess
there's a
black-
black or
I
a
guess
silver
blue
or
is
like
their
but then you're
color.
like whipping out this like you can't really be discreet with the yellow stylus if you're
Hey,
like
if you're
you
a
know.
note owner, you don't want to be discreet. You're like, check out my S Pen. It's yellow.
Like, where did it go? Here it
There you
is.
go.
Yeah, well, and what
Harder to
Samsung-
lose than the AirPods.
Well, but there's no Find My Pen. So basically,
true.
if I threw this off the table right now, I would get a notification that says, "Oh,
Well, I think AirPods is just too where like they were last connected to your phone, so it kind of doesn't really help you. It's like, oh yeah, I knew where they were because that's when I had them in my ears. But now,
I need the
now
S
that they're
Pen
not
to detect
connected
But
is when I need
you
them.
can put the S Pen back into the phone. You can't do that with your AirPods. You can't store them anywhere conveniently.
So what Samsung said was that the blue and the purple tested best for the U.S. market, and we don't know about other markets.
I just don't
But
know why
that's a
they don't.
tidbit.
I don't know why they don't just offer all four.
All of them.
Right?
Manufacturing, it's
hand
too.
them out as
Come on, you know.
exclusives.
The carriers
I
would have to
know,
buy
I know.
all of them, the channel distribution. You would
Give
have like
them out-
boxes of the least popular color,
Give
like
them out
in
as
warehouses.
exclusives. I don't know.
Lucky you.
You get the copper one. I don't know.
I feel like we've like moved from there was like the time where like the Galaxy S2 it was a different name at every carrier and like
God,
everything
yeah.
it was like
Captive.
the
Fascinate.
Captivate
Fascinate,
yeah
yeah.
not the captive
It held me captive.
Yeah, and and then they tried really hard to move to just the one device, which was like something that really helped them. And going back to pricing, that is something that is kind of interesting about the Note 9 pricing is like you don't really think about this if you're buying iPhones because they're basically the same. It's the iPhone 10 is $1,000, but the Note or the Galaxy devices are different prices at every carrier right at the beginning, like from the get-go.
Right.
So it's so confusing. And this time with the Note 9, it's the same price everywhere.
Yeah, we would have ranges of like, well, if you go with US Cellular, it's $680, but on Verizon, it's $750. And you're just like, wait, really? There's a $70 difference?
Yeah.
Although I have to say, like, I wonder how long it's going to last. Like within a month or two.
Well, we're already
like,
seeing promotions.
Yeah, discounts are going to like
Right.
pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Sprint has like a half off promotion
They do,
already.
yeah.
And Verizon has a BOGO, buy one, get one.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And how soon and how much are we going to see the Note 8 discount?
Well, they already discounted the Note 8 even
Oh,
before
it did
the
happen.
event. It was like down to like $750.
I mean,
See, this is why they're the
40.
reporters and I just push the buttons.
Yeah. I don't know how much they would discount it more though, because they don't want to make it too cheap where you look at the two and you're like, holy shit, this is, excuse my language, this is $500. This is
Roger, we do
$1,000.
so good, and then we bring on your guests.
I know.
Do we have to have a swear jar?
Is this like a
It's-
PG rated
podcast?
podcast?
Katzmeyer, Alfred, and now you. Thank
Sorry.
you. Go on.
I'm going to have to drop some sort of F-bomb later.
Well, we're out of podcast territory, so there's that.
Anyway, I don't even know what we were talking about.
The price differential between a phone that's like far too
Oh
discounted.
yeah. I feel like if they cut the price too much, it would almost force you to buy that cheaper
Well,
one.
the thing of it is it's not Samsung's call, right? For a lot of the cases, it's
That's true.
Verizon or
That's
AT&T.
very
They're just
true.
trying to get rid of the inventory.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know how many people would actually buy their phones directly from Samsung.
Probably not that
they sell
many.
them on their website, but it's
Right.
not. It's not the same as like getting it. At an Apple store.
Right.
We got just enough time for a couple more quick questions. Let's talk about the S Pen. Everybody's really excited about the S Pen. I know Ayaz is a huge fan of it here in the office. The Big Num 123, can the Note 9 S Pen work with the Note 8? Zane wants to expand on that and ask if they're going to sell the S Pen as an independent accessory so it could work with other previous Notes.
That's a great question.
Very
We
good
don't
question.
have clarity on that. All the S Pens will work in terms of pressure sensitivity and writing. I do know there is a Bluetooth antenna in here. I imagine, but am not sure, but my guess would be that it is specific to some sort of circuitry in the Note 9 because if there's an antenna here, there has to be a receiver in the phone.
And also the charging, because it's charged by the phone.
Yeah.
And I don't think like the Note 8 would probably have the capability of charging it.
That's a very good point. Yeah, you charge
Wait,
it when
is
you
it-
stick it in the device.
Is it a wireless charge or is there contact
No,
on that
it's
pen?
charged when it's like plugged in.
But I mean, where's the contact on the pen? Is it the button?
Who knows?
Good question.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really visible here, so we need to kind of like dig into those. We did not get a lot of time to go really technical into the specs of like how does it work exactly and what is the circuitry like and blah blah blah. But I
Send
would
it down to Kentucky for cracking open.
yeah.
Maybe not
There's
this
like a
one.
little knife. But I would wager that every Note going forward is going to have something really similar.
Yeah.
And this S Pen is not a lot bigger than the Note 8's S Pen either. So so you're not getting, it might be big enough that it doesn't actually fit. I didn't try. But that is a possibility. It is a little bit bigger, but not a lot.
So what does happen if you, say, lose the S Pen that comes with your Note? Can you get a replacement unit and do you have to go straight to the manufacturer to get that sent to you on like a serial number type thing?
Yeah, I've never lost one. Don't lose it. No, you
Modest.
can buy replacements. I mean, it happens. Things happen.
Okay. I was just kind of curious, like if it's that married to the original phone, what happens when you do have to replace it?
I don't think
Or
it's
the way
married
around.
to the point where like it's to that specific phone. Like you can probably just get a replacement and it's totally
Yeah.
fine.
And I
But
think it's more
model
like
to
you
model.
can't probably buy
Model-
this one
exactly.
to replace
Generation
your
to
Note 8
generation.
one.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can built-in decks come to the Note 8?
We
That's
were
coming
trying to
from
get
Zane.
clarity on that also.
I can't remember what they said
There-
about that one. There were
Yeah.
some things we asked about that
They
were
said it was
coming and some things
specific-
that weren't.
Yeah, some element of it was specific to the Note 9. But so I think like, Yeah, I don't want to go on record saying that. That's something that I think we need to revisit. I never liked the dock. So I do think that it is really important to be able to just plug in directly and use it. I have had problems with lag when I've used DeX in the past. It has not been my favorite way to use it. I would probably just rather use, I mean, I'm a creature who lives every day on my laptop. We write, we're all on our laptops. So for me, I don't think like a natural use case has ever popped up, but it's something where I would want to see a lot of improvements with the responsiveness in order to even think that that is, a great idea that everyone should use.
Right.
Does the Note 9 SD card allow for app installs and running them, or is it just for pics and vids? So can you use the SD card to install applications on your phone, or is it just for media transference?
The SD card should work the same way that any SD card.
But isn't that always been the whole thing? Like you can only do the apps on the phone itself, and like photos and other medias on the external card.
Right, because even in like my Amazon Fire tablet, you can't put certain apps on an external.
Why don't we get back to you on that one?
Yeah,
good question.
We'll have to do some tests.
Do you think you will be able to use the Galaxy Watch as a camera remote, just like the Apple Watch?
Well, we'll have to try it out first. They didn't really give us a lot
There
of
hasn't been
time
too
to
much
play
on
with
the
it.
watch yet.
Yeah. I imagine that is a feature they'll probably show up since Samsung's really great at making sure it's got features similar to what Apple offers. But
I thought it was a good wish list item there in the comments.
For sure.
And then before we let everyone go, I want to give a quick shout out to Hunter Lee. Thanks to Hunter for pointing out that it's the rare occasion that the 359 happened at 359.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Wow. I didn't even think that through. But
Yeah.
well done, sir.
But yeah, we're out of time. I'm completely cooked because I've been sitting here pushing buttons talking about phones all day and I don't care anymore.
Can I go review this phone now?
Run now. Just leave. Just go.
So yeah, wrap it up, Roger.
Good? All right. The 359 podcast is available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Feedburner, Google Play Music, Google Podcast, the Amazon Echo, and of course, CNET.com. We'll see you all on Monday.
Okay, bye.
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 Bye.